Hi, you're with Tabitha from Tabandy Farm. I am going to present a tutorial on a simple wet felting purse project. You will need some grippy mat, a piece of black plastic builder's quality. It's a nice thick plastic which you can feel inside the wool, which we'll go into more detail a little bit later. I will be using Tabandy Farm wool tops. I have some yarn for decoration, pure wool, pair of scissors, and a bucket of hot soapy water. For this purpose, this is a very beginner's 3D object. We're going to use this builder's plastic and we are going to felt around it, but we're going to do it in a step-by-step process for absolute beginner. So here we go. Now I'm going to take my wool and we're going to work from right to left by evenly pulling apart our fibers and layering them on top of each other. Like so. This is called the Tatiana Tap. I have named this after a friend of mine who taught me how to do this. We can also use our pinch grip, which is placing the wool tops on the palm of the hand, gripping it with your thumb and your fingers, and carefully pull. If you are doing it this way, you will work from left to right. Now, as you're laying, you can see I am slightly overlapping each pull. With each pull, I am slightly overlapping the last pull. So I have a pinch grip, pull. If I pull too close together, the wool is very hard to pull apart. So move your hands further apart, pinch grip the edge and pull gently. And what we're aiming for this particular project is a large rectangle. Yeah, so I'm going to go between the Tatiana Tap and pinch grip method. Pinch, pull, pinch, pull, tap. With the Tatiana Tap, all I'm doing, you can open up your fibers like so, pulling them apart. You can shorten them, again, keeping your hands further apart. You have a bit more control this way. And all I'm doing is placing the fibers, popping my tips of my finger on the fibers and gently pulling. And I'm overlapping. So here, pull, overlap slightly. Trap, pull, tap, pull, trap, pull. Now we're doing a large rectangle that is going to felt around this piece of black builder's plastic. This black builder's plastic, as you can see, is much smaller than the rectangle we're creating. The reason for that is that it will shrink about 30% as a general rule. Some fibers shrink less, some fibers will shrink more. But as a general rule, we're going to lay our fibers 30% larger than our rectangle. Now, this is a pattern I've created. There's no rules to the patterns you can use. And throughout this, I'm not going to jump too far ahead because I'll only confuse you. All will be revealed. You have to trust me. So we'll get back to... Now, please take your time in laying your fibers. This gives you the end product of your felt. Taking the time now will give you a better finish. And gently pop your hands over your lid, and you can feel how even you have done it. Now, as you can see, we're going all one way. We're going either right to left with our Tatiana tap, or we're going from left to right with the pinch grip. We'll keep checking with our pattern. So I need a little bit further to go. For this small project, the amount of wool that I'm using is approximately 25 to 30 grams. As you can see, the wool is quite lofty. The percentage of down fibers. Down fibers are a lovely spongy wool, such as Suffolk, Cheviot, Ryland sheep. They are the types of sheep breeds wool that give us structure in our felt. Some crossbred fibers too, such as Borderlester cross, Merino cross. They also give us a lovely elasticity in our yarn. As you can see, I've changed my Tatiana tap, going from right to left, left to right. Okay. So that is, might just go a little bit more, and then we'll do our second layer. Because this is a little pouch, we would like some strength in our finished felt, because we are going to be putting things inside. So that is half of my 25 grams that I've used. So, and we've gone from right to left or left to right. Now we're going to take our second bit of wool and we're going to run from bottom to top or top to bottom. Once again, for control, I'm going to shorten my wool, roving like so. And again, pay attention to keeping your wool nice and even, because it does give you a better result. Feeling. The grippy mat that I am using is great. I myself prefer the grippy mat as water can penetrate through it quite easily, as you'll see in just a moment. Again, pinch, pull, overlap, pinch, pull, overlap. I am doing this in a hatched pattern because the felting process works this way. Each one of these fibers has tiny little barbs which can't be seen with the naked eye. When we apply hot water, soap, friction, those tiny little barbs stick out, interlock, and start to shrink, which gives us the felt fabric. So hence I'm going this way and this way. So I get a nice, that's why it's so important to overlap your fibers and keep them as evenly as possible so that those tiny barbs on each of those fine fibers can interlock and mesh once you apply friction, heat, and soap. Wool is quite sculptural. Whichever direction you roll and felt your wool is where the fibers will shrink, and I will show you that when it comes to that. It's such an amazing medium to work with. So beautiful. I know every single one of my sheep that's in this wool. I can picture their little faces, their funny little habits they have, and their funny little personalities. They're so cute. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to make sure that I've filled all my spaces. And we'll just use up the rest. Sorry. Okay, that looks nice to sleep in. Good enough to sleep in. I wish it would stay that way. Okay. Okay. Now, with our grippy mat, we're going to wet down now. I'm going to place another grippy mat on top. And I'm going to apply some warm to hot soapy water. Just hot enough to touch. Doesn't have to be too hot, but not too cold either. And we're going to move that water around to remove all of the air between the layers of our fibres. And do this quite firmly, because at this stage of the felting process, the fibres need to be held tightly together whilst their tiny little barbs start to stick out and the felting process can commence. They can't interlock if there is air between them. As you can see, how much air is actually between the fibres there, and it's actually quite hard. The wool is still trying to repel the water, and this is why we need the soap to actually help the water penetrate the fibres. Wool can actually hold up to 30% moisture before it feels wet. Now, the soap that I'm using in this particular demonstration today is goat milk soap. It's a lovely soap. It softens the fibres as we work with it. Goat milk soap. It's not made of goat, it's actually goat milk. And but the other detergents that I use are just dishwashing liquid, and sometimes I'll use washing powder. So you can feel now that all the water is penetrating those fibres, and we've almost excluded all air. Okay, so this now is a wet bit of wool laid out evenly. The felting process has actually already begun, even though slightly. We're going to take our pattern now and what we're going to do is fold it around our two-dimensional design. So those two layers that we've laid is now becoming 4. And 6, giving us a very strong little pouch. There, ready for the next stage. We'll see you soon.